It's up to you, New York, New York.
Happy Monday. It's the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. I am your host, Richie, here with my guy, my brother from another mother, Mr. Idris Salam, aka Bosco from the Bronx. How you doing, boss?
Monday, Monday. Not too well, man. I don't like what I've seen this weekend with the Yankees, so we're gonna talk about that.
Well, look at it this way. At least you didn't have to witness it up close and personal. A
That's right.
very, very piss poor performance from the New York Yankees. And
Yeah.
I think a very real annoyance is that they made it interesting at the end, as they usually do. Yankees lead Major League Baseball in one-run losses in the early going. Only one of their losses this season has actually been by more than a run. We're going to be hitting on not the Patriot way, as Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini are subject to a potential adultery scandal.
Yep. I don't want to make too much out of it, but sometimes with the smoke, there's fire.
Yeah, and sometimes when there's eyes, there's common sense.
Yep.
NBA playoff brackets are here. We're going to hit on our predictions, starting, of course, with the play-in games. Play-ins could be actually rather exciting. I think it's a pretty even playing field all the way through for these early round matchups. But we're going to start with the New York Yankees because I always say, let's give the bad news first.
Yeah.
Yankees losing streak reaches 5 with the latest failure at the Trop. I was at the stadium yesterday. Uh, you know, good seats. I expected to see a better performance out of Cam Schlittler. Unfortunately, that was not the case. He did record 8 strikeouts, but it was not his typical performance. The biggest problem with the Yankees, and I mean, there's plenty to complain on, but the bottom of this lineup, Idris, has just been so putrid. And,
And you know, yeah.
you know, JC Escara, my goodness, Jose Caballero, it's just Ryan McMahon, who actually got a hit yesterday. I thought I was going to fall out of my seat when that happened. Um, I have no words for how bad they look offensively, and I get it. It's April, and every year in baseball, pitching is always going to be ahead of hitting, particularly in the first part of the season. But I think
Hmm.
the thing that is really just turning me off with this Yankee club is that when I'm looking at the at bats, I feel that everybody is trying to go for the seats. There's no contact hitting. I don't really know what the plan is, batter to batter, in terms of at bats. And I know it's early, but when 8-2 quickly becomes 8-7, and now the team down south is actually ahead of you due to the tiebreaker, they did sweep us. I know it's only April, but this is unacceptable. I'm sorry. This is unacceptable. When you run it back, you're supposed to run it back because you know that you were that close and you were better than it ended last year. And I'm looking at this Yankee team, and I think I've seen enough through 15 games to say that this could be a lingering issue with this particular lineup. I mean, I know that we're getting two guys back that at different junctures of their careers have played the role of ace, both Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon.
Mhm.
That sets up a big four when you combine them with Max Fried and Cam Schlittler. But the Rays are playing small ball. They're playing smart baseball. They have a lot of speed on that team. Not an inch of intimidation on their end versus the Yankees. And quite frankly, to teams, looking ahead at this, in a lot of ways, the Yankees were truly exposed over the course of the weekend. I didn't take too much out of losing to the Athletics the way we did because the Athletics put it on the boys and queens.
Yeah.
But when you have a divisional matchup early in the year in your second home, so to speak, because that is the Yankees' second home, the Tampa area,
Mhm.
it's embarrassing. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It was outright embarrassing. And I'm looking at my mother and I'm like, well, at least the tailgate was lit.
Before the season, that was my concern about the bottom of the lineup. How we do it because when you got the seventh, eighth, ninth, how would we do? And that was my concern. And it's showing that we're good at the top, but as we get into the lineup and get closer to the end, we don't have much, man. And I'm not, I don't like to bash players, but we're just not that good when
And
it comes to.
the way things are looking right now, it's like you can't afford Aaron Judge to get off to a slow start because of how terrible this lineup is playing. Trent
Yeah,
Grisham, that's what $22 million gets you out of qualifying offer. That's something that I told you off air when it first happened
yep,
that I thought the Yankees could potentially regret. He was coming off a career season in terms of home runs, but it's a real mystery to me. You had Randall Grichuk in the lineup yesterday. He
right.
ultimately gets replaced. Ahmed Rosario late in the game comes into right field and immediately, right in front of my section, like in Little League, when someone hits a rocket and the kid almost looks like, oh shit, what do I do? That's what it looked like in right field when Ahmed Rosario. I mean, I get it. He's not known for his glove. That's why he's never really been a full-time guy in the league, unless if it was in the DH role. The guy could hit,
Yeah,
but it's just embarrassing. I'm seeing Jazz Chisholm Jr. playing second lazy.
you
I'm
could.
not saying that every play has to be made when it's a screamer coming at you, but Jazz just looks very disinterested, like if he's everywhere other than at the stadium, so to speak. This team right now, it's just not it. It's just not it.
Yeah, Jazz made a comment over the weekend. I didn't like it. He said, as the weather gets warm, he starts to heat up. It's hard to play. I'm like, dude, this is baseball. This is a sport that you most of the time you're playing outside.
This is stupid ass comment, Idris,
A
because
very common,
in the Northeast, is the weather warm in October?
right?
Come on,
Exactly.
man. Oh, and I had a
Exactly.
comment too, and I think he heard me because one thing about the Trop, especially if the Yankees are not performing well, you could hear a pin drop.
Yeah, I can
And
imagine.
I yelled loud enough to be heard, and I know he heard me. I said, Jazz, I don't think they paid the AC this month because it was a little stuffy in there.
Yeah,
And I said, it's nice and warm. You're gonna start the quest for 50-50? And my section started laughing at it.
yeah,
But I'll tell you the truth, man. A lot of angry Yankee fans walking out of there, heads down. Just a real disappointing series. And they don't really have too much time to dwell on it because today they welcome the Los Angeles Angels into the Bronx.
right.
And
Maybe some home cooking will help, even though it didn't help against the A's, but hopefully some home cooking.
I really hope that there's a team meeting coming.
Yeah, I'm appalled, man. We came out blazing and we look just as bad as we look good.
But even the
Right.
fragility of the wins, the pitching overcompensated when you look at that Seattle series. You look in the beginning of the year against the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah.
Um, it's early. And like I said, I try not to overreact, but this is a team starving for a World Series title. Our last one, you have to go way back to 2009. And I'm getting to a point where I'm questioning if the negativity is becoming a real truth, that this ownership group only cares about merch, running a really strong business. Making the playoffs consistently is good enough. In no era of Yankee baseball have I ever felt that that's good enough.
And that's
You
not the
know,
Yankees.
no. And the late George Steinbrenner, I have praised and criticized him one and the same on different matters.
Hmm.
But when you have a seat like Brian Cashman does for almost 3 decades, 28 years to be exact, he came in under Gene Stick Michael, Bob Watson, a
Yep.
young, ambitious Buck Showalter managing the team. A lot of the
Yep.
great Yankee teams were formulated while George Steinbrenner was serving his lifetime ban, or at least it seemed like it was going to be a lifetime ban.
Yeah.
Um, I love the boss. The boss is super responsible for bringing in Reggie Jackson and the
Mhm.
great Yankees teams of the late 70s. But when I look at the dynasty of the 90s going into the early 2000s, I do think to a level Brian Cashman gets a little too much credit for that when you consider that it was kind of spoon fed for success because of the other men that were involved. And one thing that definitely gets under me, Idris, I believe in tradition and I believe in culture. And I
Yep.
don't see anybody really from past Yankee greatness involved with the day to day operations of this organization. And I don't understand why.
And something I never thought about that until you just said that, because if you look at the major sports, like you look at the Giants, you got the OGs, Carl Banks and everyone, staying really connected with the team, with the Knicks, same thing, you know, every sport, but it seems like the Yankees don't have, like you said, they don't have the OG from the past really out
I
there in
want
front.
to see Yankee. I want to see Yankee royalty in
Yeah.
terms of yesteryear more around this club. I knew
Yeah.
that there was something really wrong when Reggie Jackson felt that his voice wasn't powerful enough to be heard by the regime. And his last stop in baseball was actually the Houston Astros. That says so much about so much. And I get it. Aaron Boone was a Yankee briefly. He had a good relationship with the club. I like Aaron Boone, the human. I want to make that clear. But
Yeah.
one thing that I also want to make clear is that while I've been hypercritical of Aaron Boone over the years, I'm not completely going to complain on him when I feel that this is the Cashman show, and I feel that Brian Cashman is the guy who keeps marching out these analytically driven teams. I get it. We scored the most runs in Major League Baseball last year, but sometimes I do believe that some of these statistical values are a little skewed. Sometimes, you can achieve those numbers late in the year against teams that are kind of checked out. You can add on against bullpens that are, getting beat down. There's a lot of different ways. But my bottom line with this Yankee team right now is if it's not now, then when? I look at what we have going on. Aaron Judge only has a few more years of what we would consider his real prime. And are the Yankees really going to squander the prime of the best player, the best offensive player in Major League Baseball? And that's a legitimate fear of mine, and it's one with merit.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm disappointed. I mean, he's a very good man. We keep a winning team out there, but we all know, everyone knows the Yankee way is not about just winning. It's winning the title. We don't count
Yeah,
innings.
yeah. Playoff appearances are not something that Yankee fans are going to be accustomed to doing
Mm.
backflips over, because if that's what it is, then the standards have truly, truly dropped. This is 41 pennants. This is 27 World Series titles.
Right.
This is our own version of Cooperstown in a place called Monument Park.
You know something?
legends galore, and not just legends. I'm talking about actual icons ranging from Babe Ruth, Yogi Berra, Joe DiMaggio, Derek Jeter, Mickey Mantle,
Yeah.
Lou
You know,
Gehrig.
yeah.
Come on, come on.
That's what I mean. The Yankee way is winning titles. Period. Of all our major teams, the Yankee way is winning titles because we're always in the playoffs. That's nothing. That's a
But the
given for them.
conundrum at third base, how
Oh my!
could it be the beginning of April just before
I think Richie got cut off, y'all. But yeah, I'm with him. It's the beginning of April. Third base looks bad.
my
Power.
apologies, kidnapped
Okay.
child alert came over my phone, so I wanted to take a look at that.
Oh, I picked it up. Go ahead. You were saying about third base.
It's a conundrum, Idris. It's a
Yeah.
true conundrum. Um, how do you go and get into a position where you're so naked at the hot corner? I'm not saying that Jazz Chisholm was the end all be all answer at third base when we went to the 2024 World Series and won our 41st pennant. But when you let Gleyber Torres leave for, a litany of reasons, some of it was on Gleyber that he didn't want to change positions, and I understand that too.
Yeah.
But you bring in Ryan McMahon, it has clearly been a failure in
Oh
that
man.
regard. Ahmed Rosario can't play the field. Why is a former National League MVP who has a world of experience, Paul Goldschmidt, never going to get a chance to hit against righties, only lefties? I'll take my chances with Goldie in the batter's box versus some of the other guys that they have put in these situations. Why is Randall Grichuk on the main roster when you have Jason Dominguez and Spencer
All right.
Jones tearing up AAA? One of these kids needs to be up on the team right now.
Exactly. Bring Dominguez
You
up.
don't put these kids to see if they can bloom, but you are putting in broken down veterans. I'm sorry. There's so much structurally wrong with this Yankee team, and I'll be tuning in because I am a fan and I love my team. But
Too.
it, I'm not just going to be like it's only April. No, I'm not. They all count, and right now this team should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, they all count because one thing is the AL East, and we know how the AL East goes. We're always
Absolutely.
like we're always four teams fighting. And with the Rays, I meant to say at the top of the show, the Rays have always been a thorn in our feet, man. Always,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Going back
always.
to their inception.
Yes, they've always been. It's frustrating. It's really frustrating that we jumped out to such a hot start and we look this bad. We
No, I
look
couldn't
we
agree more, Idris. I truly am with you on this one.
third
I
base,
really am.
bottom of the lineup, goalie sitting there and just rusting away. Like, come on, man.
I
Dominguez
couldn't
is
agree
down there.
more, Idris.
It's like, oh, it's
Yeah, it's
yeah.
yeah, it's enough to make somebody really get mad. We're gonna move it along to the NBA playoffs.
Please,
These are the brackets. Um,
some good
all
games,
right.
man.
Yeah, let's start with the play-in, start on the east side. Charlotte Hornets, Miami Heat. The way the play-in works, guys, is it's the first to win two. The lower seeded team remaining goes to play the one. The lowest seeded team losing is out immediately, where the loser of the bigger seeded game has a chance to still get the eight seed, where they would play the loser of
Yeah,
the bottom seeded sitch. So it's gonna be interesting, but I'm gonna put it here. I got the Hornets taking out the Heat, and I've got the Orlando Magic finding a way and beating Philly in the East. Out West, I like the Clippers against. I know Steph just came back. I don't care. I like the Clippers. Portland and the Suns could go either way. Give me the Suns there. But ultimately, that sets up Charlotte and the Pistons. No, excuse me. That's 7 and 8. That would bump Charlotte into the Celtics, where you have Orlando or Philly. Detroit will make it to round two, is where I'm going with this.
yeah.
Um, Any upsets, anything big you seeing coming down the pike where a lower seed is going to knock somebody out quickly, or do you think that it's going to be at least until round two until we see some honest shakeup?
I think it'd be round. I think it'd be round two. Well, Houston and Lakers, man. I'm going with Houston, man. I just I'm gonna go with Houston with that. But other than that, I don't really see anything shaking up. I think everything will play out the way.
I think
And you know what?
the two best series around one, once we get to past the play in, Minnesota and Denver is going to be fun.
That's gonna be a good game. That's gonna be
Yeah.
entertaining. I was looking at that.
Yeah. Minnesota, Denver, I think has the potential to go seven in round one. I think our New York Knicks, if assuming that their heads are upright, should dispose of the Atlanta Hawks within 5 games. Uh, the Celtics, not really too worried about their trajectory from round one. I think they move along with whoever they catch from the play in.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you because of the Lucas situation. I think Houston will take care of the Lakers. My
They
pick
should.
out
They
west is the San Antonio Spurs knocking out the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Finals. I think they are the kryptonite for the Thunder this year. I think they're a great matchup for the Thunder in terms of for them, that they can play with the Thunder.
Same here. I agree. You know what's great about these playoffs? You look at the East, how it used to be they had a bunch of teams with losing records. Now the East actually has a team, a conference with winning records in the playoffs. Like the East has come a long way. And these matchups, man, there's some good playing games, dude. I'm not for the playing game. I really don't like it. I'm traditional. Let's go with the first eight and let's roll with that. But with these, I mean, Houston, not Houston, Miami and Charlotte, man, that's going to be a good one.
I want
Orlando.
Charlotte.
Mhm.
I want Charlotte to end up as the eight because Charlotte is a team that I think can knock out Detroit. They might not play out that way, but that's what I want.
Yeah, and with Miami and yeah, I want Miami gone too. And this is not a hate. This is not a hate towards Miami, and I want Miami fans to know this. But Miami's the type of team when they get momentum, they are hard to beat in
No,
the playoffs.
absolutely. And Eric Spoelstra is built for this time of the year. That's why he's one of the better coaches in the league. If Charlotte, if Charlotte gets the Pistons, I think they could knock them down. I, however, think that Charlotte will not beat the Celtics just based on matchups and the way these teams are playing down the stretch. I'm not overly worried about the Hawks. I think the Knicks will get out of there within 5 games. I would love to see a sweep and have the Knicks lock in. I think it'll be 5 games. The
Yeah,
Raptors and the Cavaliers could be interesting.
yeah, yeah. James Harden, are you going to show
It is the
up?
playoffs. It is the playoffs.
You got somebody right behind. You got Donovan Mitchell with you.
I'm taking
So
Cleveland. I'm going to take Cleveland in 6 in that series.
yeah, same here. I'm gonna go Cleveland six. I
Cleveland
think
in 6.
yeah, I think they'll do enough to win. It's the next round where we'll have to worry about James Harden. So we'll see. We'll see.
Now, as our New York Knicks go, Idris, who's going to be? Is it going to be the Jalen Brunson show like we've seen in previous playoffs, where he's putting up 30-point nights in a row,
I hope,
comparably to Michael Jordan, or are we going to see him hone it back? And are we going to see some unsung guys on the Knicks like the OG Ananobis of the world? Maybe Bridges steps up. Maybe Josh Hart has some interesting nights. Or is Carl Anthony Towns potentially saving his best for the playoffs and we're going to see him be a real force that we've been waiting for?
I hope Brunson doesn't have to take over. I would love to see OG. I would love to see Cat. I would love to see Hart. I love to see all of them put in. I love to see Alvarado get in there and knock down 12, 14 points. I want this to be a team. I want this to be playing deep. I want to go 10 deep. I want to throw everything out there. I want us to win. We got to do what we can, we right now. We look like a Tom Thibodeau team. We look like a Tom Thibodeau team. We don't need to look like a Tom Thibodeau team. We need like a Mike Brown team. We need to look like a go like we need to go 10 deep. We need to play together. Brunson 30, 35 points. That's cool, but we need OG with 20 points. We need Cat with 20 points. We need Hart with about 15 points. That's what we need.
Yeah, the talent is there. I want to see it flourish in these playoffs because similar to my rant on the Yankees, when's it going to be, Knicks? This is the year to get it done if it's going to happen at all. Before we get out of here, final thought. We're going to talk about this for a moment. Not the Patriot way. Mike Vrabel potentially in some hot water. It's kind of like a little different for Diana Rossini. Now, nothing's been proven, so to speak, but
Right.
definitely from a suspect level. Um, just from coming into something like this off the rip, I actually believe that a private investigator may have been hired by Rossini's husband, perhaps, to try to prove something of an infidelity. Now, to my understanding, Idris, and the things that I've seen, and I always say, is this AI? Is this real? No, there's definitely something real to this, but there was like some hand holding. Both parties have played it down and said that it's not what it looks like. We've heard that a million times with these kind of situations. It seems like this is the era of the CEO going down or a public figure just being caught out there. It's not just knucklehead cowboy fans that get caught doing this shit. But what are your thoughts, Idris? Do you think that Mike Vrabel should actually resign? I mean, this is a thing that when the outside looking in, with sports fans, we're like, oh, another Patriot incident. Now, this is Mike Vrabel who kind of turned the other cheek with the Stephon Diggs video that emerged coming into last season. Of course, Diggs is not a member of this team anymore. Mike Vrabel's always been the kind of guy that's been known as a stand-up guy, in and out of the locker room, hard worker as a player, even harder worker as a coach, a guy that I've always respected. But at the same time, wrong is wrong. How do you think the Patriots handle this? Do you think that they actually consider asking him to resign, or is it that's football and this is something else? Like, what do you think?
Whew. Like, so we're not gonna make too much out of what we see. But I read up on this a little bit, and Donna Racine that's a lot of receipts because she always had, even like 2 weeks ago, she was flirting with Mike Vrabel on a podcast. So and they've had something like this going on for a little while, to where one saying this and one saying that, and it's always been like back and forth, but not a bad back and forth, but like some little suspect. So I don't know,
Right.
but as for Vrabel being stepping down, if there's nothing, okay, because we making something out of holding hands and hugging, maybe that's nothing. I don't know. The way it looked to me, you don't hold hands with someone like
Yeah, yeah. Like, I'm not going to insult the intelligence of anybody that's watching this or following it on their own way, whatever have you.
but if it's
I
true,
also understand that what goes on the football field versus that, while it might
yeah,
be, morally wrong in a different way, there's not a crime being committed. However, it's kind of scuzzy because, there's children, there's people that get hurt in these situations, families get ripped up. It's nothing to celebrate. I'll put it to you like that. And I'm not
if he,
expecting Mike Vrabel to step down.
yeah,
If
I
the
don't think he will. If it's true, of course people are going to call for him to step down. I don't think he will. But it's a bad look considering Stephon Diggs and even Kraft a few years ago with the massaging thing, stuff like that. You
Right,
know,
it's
it,
almost become like, I don't know, dude.
it's always
Like,
something
almost,
cheap, dude. You know what?
yeah.
You know
I
what?
mean, we've seen it, like, even going back to the beef that Karl Malone and the late Kobe Bryant had
But
when
listen,
Karl
listen.
Malone really stepped out of pocket
But listen,
and inappropriately approached Vanessa. Go ahead.
it's like if you look at the pages, it's always something cheating. You had
There's
Deflate Gate.
something going on.
You had Deflate Gate. That was cheating.
You
Okay,
had Spygate. You had a serial killer on your team.
right? Women
And I'm
involved.
not poking light of it because, these things didn't start in the NFL with regard to Hernandez. It was Urban Meyer running a
Yeah,
lot of interference where
yeah,
possibly if things were held to a more accountable standard and it wasn't just about winning football games, Perhaps an intervention or two could have swayed things. I don't know, but it didn't happen. And then when you see the way Urban Meyer behaved at the NFL level, it just goes more and more to show you that he never truly cared about the players. He cared about his image. He cared about winning at all costs. He didn't care about what kind of people were coming out of his program, what kind of quality of humans they were going to be. And that speaks volumes on all of it.
Yeah. Um.
When he went to Jacksonville and treated grown men like children and all some of his shenanigans, I was like, man, what a wasted year for young Trevor Lawrence. That's like give him a mulligan for his rookie year dealing with that clown. Then you bring in the Tebow show.
Right.
But ultimately, Idris, I don't think that he's going to resign. But I do think it's just another black eye on a long list of bad behavior in the NFL. Unfortunately, the offseason seems to frequent the NFL more than any other sport in terms of questionable behavior, whether it's vehicular stuff, whether it's just unsavory shit. There's a lot that could be said. You look at the Rashee Rice situation.
Yeah.
Henry Ruggs wants to get back in the NFL. We saw what happened there. It's a problem that the NFL has, and a problem that the NFL needs to take a little more serious.
Yeah, Diana Rossini, she's from the Bronx too. You know what I mean? And he's from the Bronx. Look here, y'all. We're not all like that. I hope it's nothing. I really do. I hope it's nothing.
But my whole thing is that if things are breaking down, go about it in a different way. But how stupid are you when you're two public figures and you're putting it out there like that? I mean, you're a leader of men and you're somebody that's supposed to be respected.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
either,
just
man.
me.
It don't look good. It don't look good, man. It does not
It
look
does
good.
not look good. The Yankee offense doesn't look good. Mike Vrabel with this situation, it doesn't look good. But I'll tell you what does look good. A really good mock draft show coming at you very soon. Idris and I reached out to Zappy. We have to put two of these guys in different corners at different time slots. There's a little bit of internal combustibility going here on the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast, but we're going to work through it as a family.
That's right, y'all. That's how we.
Hey, I tell the truth. I'm not going to sit here and say, we'll get through it.
We'll get through
One thing I do know is that I love talking football with both these men, and both of them are going to be a part of it. So we're going to figure it out. But until next time, he is Idris. I am Richie. If you haven't already, please make it a point to like and subscribe to the channel, the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast on YouTube. Check out Old Man Energy Volumes 1 and 2. Check out our friends at the Sports Corner, Mr. Nash, Joe Gal, and of course, our friends from the Casual Convo Show every Wednesday, 8 to 10 p.m. Mr. Paul, Hugh, Jude, and Miss Coco. We are out for now. New York Yankees, please come home with some determination and come home with some damn pride, because I am getting sick of watching this movie. I'm out.
Start spreading the blues.
Oh, last thing. I now have my therapy session, and I don't even think I'm going to talk about personal stuff. I might just continue this Yankee rant over there. We out. Therapy's good, guys. Real talk.
Bye.
Go.
We're out.
Men's mental health. Go to therapy. It is good stuff. I'm out.